Finally, it is year number 2 to this Dynasty rebuild series with our Honolulu Dragons. Can I turn them into a powerhouse dynasty? As for our year 1, we was pretty successful. We ended off the season on a positive note with a 9-4 record, winning our very first bowl game. Now, over that season, we had develop and improve certain individual players that were young, as we are looking forward to seeing if those improvements actually showcase and matter heading into second season. And with that being said, we lost a lot of decent players that were upperclassmen, but we were able to fortunately have decent young players to improve upon and also have a decent recruiting coming into next season. We was able to get the best player in the nation and the number one outside linebacker. And you guys are going to see he is literally that guy. He does dominate in today's performance, which you guys are about to see our first game up against the St. Louis Cats, who is an 83 overall, an 84 defense, and has an 81 offense. As for us, we kind of dropped to 85 overall team. We do have an 86 defense and an 83 offense into comparison to what we had last season, which we finished off at a 87 overall team and having a 88 defense and 85 overall offense. Now we dropped about 2 ratings from last year to this season, but once again that was in combination with both our upperclassmen that was pretty good, and with the addition of improving our freshman players throughout the season. So before we get into it, I just want to do a little recap refresher for those that may forgot and for especially those that are new to the series. So last season we had Michael Hatcher, number 7, our 81 overall receiver. We ended up improving him throughout the season because he had terrible hands, and based off, spectating the matches, CPU versus CPU, our quarterback connected with him a lot more than expected, but he tended to drop a lot of wide open passes. So we end up improving him, especially in the catching rating department, and you guys seen a big difference heading into the end of the season. Now we do have a little bit of other players. We end up getting Earl Jones, a freshman receiver, who is a decent receiver to improve on for years to come, as he is an 84 overall. And we have an 85 overall sophomore returning freshman, Michael Baldwin, number 90. And then the rest is upperclassmen, decent at best. Now, we take a look at the D tackles. Last season, we ended up boosting up our freshman, now sophomore, Richard Myers, number 69. He is up to a 90 overall. And then we had Drew Morris that we was eventually going to get to, but he becomes a senior this season, and he's an 82 overall. I feel like these two players would be dominant. That's why we transitioned from a 3-4 defense to a 4-3 zone defense. So the scheme is being based off what we have improved on from last season, and then seeing how we play. That's why we're trying to change it up a little bit and see how we do heading into this season. We lost a couple of our guys in the trenches, especially at DN, due to upperclassmen, and we only had one decent freshman that was upcoming, which is now a sophomore, Lewis Desmore, and he's number 55. He's at a 90 overall. Other than that, we don't have the best of DNs right now. We're looking forward to recruiting some heading into our third season. Now, at the middle linebacker position, we do have some young studs, especially what we have recruited in. So we got Larry Matthews, who is a freshman that we ended up recruiting from last season. He's an 87 overall, and he's going to be starting for our team as well. We got, from freshman to sophomore now, William Owens, number 49. He's an 85 overall. So we got some studs coming into this season that's going to really help out our linebacking core. And it was great that we kind of focused on our linebacking core because we gave up so much rushing yards last season. So with the addition, like I said, for outside linebacker, we picked the top player of the nation from last season and number 1 at his position, and that was Oscar St. John, number 56. He's a 92 overall. Now, on the other end, we're going to have senior Clifton Hillman, number 47, that's going to be playing the other side, holding it down. So hopefully these two will be a dominant duo for helping out the linebackers to stop, anything in the middle, especially passing and, containing outside run plays. Now, looking at our offense a little bit, as you guys do know, we have a 92 overall freshman that we boosted up. Now he's a sophomore as well, from the freshman to sophomore running back. We got him still at 86. We've been boosting up everything else, but now we are able to focus on the core ratings heading into the season. But for our offensive guards, we got, some good amount of players at the guard position. So we got two returning players from sophomores, now juniors. We got Roger Scholes, he's an 86 overall, and Benjamin Franklin, who is a 92 overall. I believe last season we boosted up Benjamin Franklin to help out on the right guard position, because last season we was getting absolutely teared up by the interior right defensive tackle, and that was making us having to scramble. We really didn't have time in the pocket. So I'm looking forward to this season. We're going to have a little bit more time. And then we also got some freshmen coming in that can back them up if they do get injured. Jared Harris and Gerald Potter, 77 overall and an 87 overall. Now, with the exterior linemen, we got great offensive tackles. We have a senior at 85 overall, Jose Roberts. And then we have a dominant freshman. One of them we redshirted. That's John Clevenger, 80 overall. And then we have an 84 overall freshman that we picked up during recruiting, Michael Fleming. So we're looking decent at, the trenches, and I'm looking forward to having a better pocket than last season and actually have time to make plays. So looking forward to just this overall team, especially like with all the improvements that we done for certain individual players. Like I said, the players that we brought in to help out certain positions. With that being said, let's go ahead and kick off finally some gameplay of our first match of the season and see if everything is kind of going to be paid off from what we done last season. So I'm going to show two matches of the same match. Yes, unfortunately, as you guys see me play the first match of this game starting out the season, I had to replay it because at the end of the game, as I was loading back, which you guys are going to see as I'm loading back to the Dynasty menu, my game crashes. Now, this happened numerous times, so hopefully after the patch update, which is tomorrow since this video is released, I won't have that problem anymore. But these two matches was pretty much a filling and spectating evaluation to actually see if there was a big difference. Now, playing as this team for year number 2, it was a total night and day difference from last season. This team has dramatically changed and it feels so much better to compete. Now, of course, I'm not playing the best team yet, but it still has to see where we are once we face those top teams. But I can literally tell the difference from just playing a decent or, above average team compared to last season, because this season, in this match alone, I was able to have a little bit more time. Now, when it came to man coverage, which I've seen right here, I mean, I still had time, but when I see moments like this, I'm able to take off. The fact that I had a little bit more time to assess the situation, it felt so much better compared to last season where I was like having no time whatsoever. Now, DBs played fantastic. We do have a couple times where we had a blown coverage, which was right here, is just based off play selection, blown coverage. It's going to happen. That's simulation football for you. But the run game was great. And, passing to my receivers, certain individual receivers, seeing them make plays, it felt way better compared to last season. And the accuracy of my quarterback, it's a big game changer. Like, there was a positive in every single thing that I've done from last season based off improvement heading into this season. I mean, it literally shows And like I said, it feels different. As far as our defense, man, linebacking core done it all. They pretty much crushed the run game inside, especially outside, which I was expecting. Our interior D tackles, especially the freshman that we improved, he is showing out. He had decent amount of stops in the backfield and sacks and pressures. So D line done their job. And the whole defense as a whole, each section, the D line, linebackers, secondary, they done a terrific job on defense. Like things was done a little bit better than last season in every aspect, from open field tackling, one-on-one tackling, coverage, how they're playing routes, especially from being in zone coverage compared to last season where we played a lot of man and we pretty much got torched in man. So this zone defense that transitioned the scheme to based off their ratings, like I said, the linebacking core, especially with their high zone coverage, it shows very well. They jump a lot of short routes, as you guys see right here. And also, they make big hits. There was a lot of forced fumbles that happened this game from my linebackers making big hits. They also caused some injuries and things of that sort. But I mean, their pursuit, play recognition was there, and that's what I wanted to see. So even though this game of a blowout match did not count, which was disappointing, it's the fact that I was able to get a great experience from this match and seeing a well improved team. And like I said, it just feels so much better to have this team compared to what I had to deal with last season. Now, as I rematch, I ended up having spectated that match because I wanted to literally see how their improvements affect the CPU play, how the player awareness was affected based off the rating improvements, especially for my quarterback. I wanted to see if he was better at reading the defense and making right judgments compared to last season. Because the last season, for especially those that did see last season, he threw a lot of bad reads and it was just poor judgment. So you guys are going to see what I do based off improving. I improved my quarterback based off the amount of XP that I got on certain ratings that's going to make him much more better now. When I spectated the second match, he kind of he had moments. So he made great judgment moments from time to time, but it wasn't as consistent. So he kind of still played kind of the same from last season in a way, but you get to see a little bit of their improvement. Now, outside of that, the run game especially, I was expecting a more dominating run game. Now, I feel like the scheme also has a big factor in the way how your team performs. So I was expecting them to run the ball more, but they didn't really run the ball more. They kind of made it balanced, but it was more so it was like get kind of quick passes off and then try to get a few yards then and there from running the ball. It was kind of like a uh, work the field scheme. So last season, once again, I had a pass heavy offense, and we did pass a lot, but I was converting my team to a run offense, and I selected the pro style expecting a little bit of balance between the two, but based off how the game went, it was like, they was doing dink and dunk plays, get short yardage, quick passes, and then try to run the ball up the middle. Um, it wasn't too much of a variety, so I'm probably gonna have to switch the scheme once again heading into next match. Probably a run heavy offense or a balanced offensive playbook, and just see how they're going to perform. But as far as defense, the defense is down pat. As you guys see right here, once again, this was the ending of the first match. I wanted to see the stats, but you guys see some of the stats were glitched out. So once again, I was loading back and then the game just crashes. It closes out. Once again, this is on PC, so the window for it just closes. So like I said, I'm looking forward to the patch update tomorrow and seeing how the game's going to end up uh, playing, and hopefully we don't experience these type of crash moments. So here is the rematch. I'm kind of glad this kind of worked out on the first game because, I got to get the feeling difference to see if my team improved or not, and then having the simulation spectating experience to see how my team plays after already getting the feeling of how my team plays as I'm controlling it. So this match, it was a little bit closer match, but we of course came out with another win, and it was great because everything kind of played pretty much the same compared to the first matches. Just they didn't dominate as well as I did from controlling them, but the defense was there. They was attacking the ball carrier. They stopped a lot of the runs. Quarterback made decisions like this, took off, made big plays. I mean, like I said, in this match, you got to see a little bit of the spark from the quarterback, especially, but he still made those simple mistakes, bad reads from last season. But you see it's there. It's just, I have to get his consistency rating improved, which you guys are going to see what I do improve at the end of the game. Now, right here, they do get a big run up the middle. Like I said, it comes down to play calling. Sometimes you get a bad play call and they can pull off big plays. And then you guys see right here, my quarterback just throws a blind read, but he was throwing short passes. Now look at his injury. Yeah, the game's glitchy, but I like to see moments like that when the game glitches the player like that, especially when there's an injury. It's funny and it's cool at the same time. But I know for sure they're going to fix that over time with animations. Like I said, this game is early access. It's not a final finished product. This is a game that's going to be a continuing developing game, kind of like Fortnite. So they're always going to continue to fix, address issues, and then continue to add things, especially more animations and more stuff to the game itself. So I mean, that is a banger. It's a free game. Even with the things that you have to pay for that's added on, it's not even that expensive. So I can care less about how they go about that. I'm still going to support the game no matter what because this is a night and day difference from Madden College Football. This game is so much more better, and I can't wait for you console players to experience it on December 10th for Xbox because you guys are gonna really see the night and day, especially feel the difference that's night and day from Madden college football, and that's a guarantee from me. Now, our kicker shockingly done better than last season. He missed a lot of field goals. He did miss one, but you guys see that he has a little bit more accuracy, a little bit more power, and he kind of nailed some clutch field goals when we needed it, where we couldn't really punch the ball. And for some reason, when they pick run plays, is more so outside plays. But my running back, his awareness, he would not cut up field. He would just run straight to the sideline. So that's another area that I'm still continuing to fix up on. But I mean, outside of that, he still makes some big plays. Then and there is just not as consistent. It's just like the quarterback. So uh, this game, just like first game, we was able to get a victory, which is a big plus starting out second season. So imagine how the first game I dominated the way I did, but go into a rematch just to spectate my team to end up losing. Like that would have been a devastating blow to find out that way, to figure out if my improvements was, worth it or not heading into this season. Now, here is a recap of this week's matches. You guys see some of the top teams, especially from last season, up there dominating as usual. Like, you know, this season is nothing different from last, but some of them did get upset. And then you guys see the number one ranked general still having close matches, which is wild to me. But they was the only undefeated team last season to pull off a perfect season and win it all. And then you guys see once again Jackals. They end up dominating once again, who I ended up praising last season halfway, and then they started losing. And then shockingly, I was able to face them in our first bowl game, and I ended up getting a victory, which is just a wild coincidence. And then Lightning, they barely won their game, and they was dominant earlier on in the season as well last season, and then they ended up losing it. But they had the best offensive line for the awards. So it's just wild how this series has been going, but it's pretty interesting how all this is kind of linking up and it's all simulation. Now we take a look at the rankings now. Right after the first week, the rankings for everybody totally changed. So the Generals was ranked number one. They're not ranked number one heading into week number two. I was ranked number 17, and I'm not ranked 17. So I think it's based off performance and who you play so far is going to dictate your rankings. So it's kind of interesting how they do it. But we're going to see what happens as the season continues on. As you guys see, your boys right here, ranked 33. And you guys see Generals getting knocked all the way down to 46, which is crazy. So once again, it's probably based off performance and how they done, and that's how the ranking system is going so far. But it's pretty interesting how they do this. Now, I'm looking forward once again to seeing how this season transitions, especially from last season, and seeing how the teams look heading into this season as well, and how they perform. As you guys see, State Rams, we followed all the way through, and they had one of the top running backs that I have ever seen. And then El Paso Express is up there once again. They was ranked two. Those two teams went at it at the end during the playoffs. It was just a wild, crazy first season. Now you guys take a look at my quarterback, my freshman quarterback, now sophomore this season. You guys see what I boosted up. And that was automatically his passing IQ. Is basically his awareness in the pocket, making reads, reading the field, and making his decisions when throwing the ball. So this was a big thing I wanted to max out first. As you guys see, the other ratings is up to par already. I wanted to get the core ratings to really reflect a difference in how he plays. The other two ratings was his discipline, which is a 97, and then I had to get up his determination, and I got it up to 98. So this is a big boost to my quarterback, and he does go up one overall from a 92 to 93. And now looking forward, hopefully we get to see a much more better performance. And I think the next is just boosting up his speed because everything else is solid. I may hold off on the speed and just focus on other players, especially my outside linebacker, the top recruit from last season. I feel like, if I make him into a monster, he's going to just be dominant. And you guys take a look here. I end up improving a little bit more of Larry Matthews, the middle linebacker, number 50, because in both the games alone, the initial playthrough and the rematch of the spectator match, this dude made so many plays. He was hitting the holes. He was making plays in the backfield. He was sideline to sideline. He made big hits, forced fumble. I mean, this dude was absolutely amazing to watch. And you guys see the reason why, because of his certain individual ratings just reflected so well. Now, recruiting wise this season, as once again last season, I kind of simulated and then joined back in or touched up, on and off throughout the season, especially at the end. And now heading into this season, I'm fully focused on getting certain individual players that I want, and there's all kind of different factors that I look into it. So, of course, I try to pick, the top 10 players, try to recruit them when they're not interested in my team. I'm trying to influence them, see if I can really pull them off. And then also based off certain individual ratings, like a 96 speed receiver or 99 speed cornerback. You guys have seen it. Some players that's not even interested, trying to influence them, their influence meter doesn't even budge, and then some does, but it's the whole process of going about this. Certain players, like one receiver, is slower than the other, but he has amazing catching ability, so he's like a possession receiver. So there's so many factors and details I'm taking into consideration when trying to get these players, but no player is an easy joke. You gotta take these things seriously. You can't just bypass and recruit anybody with ease. Every single one has a different way of how to go about them, and it's a challenging experience. So I'm enjoying this as well, but this season I'm really gonna take the full um, control over recruiting and seeing how I do. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. I might do a whole live stream once the patch comes out tomorrow, and just going to focus on online mode because that was one of the biggest patches that they're going to focus on, especially online fixes. But who knows what's going to happen. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about this series so far down below in the comments. What's your expectations and much more. Until next time, I'll see you guys later. I'm out. Peace.